Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the session, everybody. What do you know about this session? Has anybody told you anything? Nothing at all. Okay. Well, my name is Mark. I'm from a company called the Wise Money Owl. We're a group of volunteers. My day job is a financial advisor. So I've been doing this course for around 7 years now. And it's basically aimed at today, talking to you a little bit about money, managing money. Anybody going to university this year, next year? Quite a few of you. So we'll look at funding opportunities for that and how to look at it and not get bogged down in what everybody says. It's a lot of debt. Budgeting, how it works. Deductions from your salary. Anybody working part-time at the moment? Yeah, all paying, no, you won't be paying tax and national insurance, will you, at the moment? But you will do as you get into your later life, so we'll kind of explain that, especially for the teachers sat right at the back. They'll get to understand all those deductions you've been paying all over the years and how that works as well. A little bit about bank accounts and codes. I'm going to use an example today of costs of funding a car. It's close to my heart at the moment. My daughter's 18, just started an apprenticeship. She's just finished graphic design, A-level at college last year, and she hasn't got a clue. Bearing in mind I do this as my day job. Okay, so this is kind of where you are in your life, if you like. So at all times, we've all been born, you've gone to school, and there you are. You guys are at college, university. You could then go on to start a career. What do we mean by that? What's your career? What do you guys mean about a career? Anybody got a job in mind when they leave university or college? What do you want to be? Nothing. So you're all just studying just for the sake of it. You're not looking to kind of... Who was the guys that want to go to university then? What courses do you want to do? Nursing. So a career in nursing would be one place to go. And then you might start a family, and then you retire. How old would you have to be to retire then? How old would I have to be to retire? Anybody? Just give me a shout, some numbers.
68.
Sorry?
68.
68, that's a good answer. And teachers now aren't allowed to retire in their pension scheme until 68. What if I was a Premiership footballer? How old will I be then?
40.
Yeah, some of them retire really early. If they get injured, they retire really early. There is one job in the UK as well that you can do, and you can retire and take your retirement plan in your 30s, and that's a deep sea diver. The reason why that comes up in this screenshot is, don't just think of people in your family or people that you see in the street that they're in their 60s, therefore they must have retired. There might be a lot of people that have retired early because they can afford to, or maybe they can't physically or mentally be able to do a job anymore, so they've retired. So what happens next then? What's the next bit? What happens there in your life cycle? What's after retirement? You die. Yeah, fantastic. Nothing more certain. And some people, depending on where you live in the world, they don't even go to school. They die before that. But the question is, will I be rich? So would we all like to be rich one day? Some of you not too bothered. Some of us would. Teachers at the back, would you like to be rich and stop doing this job? Definitely. Yeah, fantastic. Mr. Cameraman? Yeah, he definitely would like to be rich one day. So what's missing off here then? What could have happened here that's not on this screen? What could I have done if this was my life cycle? A young boy in the paper today, he's 14 years old. He's just sold a plot of land for £2 million that he bought for £40,000. When he was 9, he started a tax disc advertising company, made £100,000 profit. With £100,000 profit, he bought a plot of land near his house for £40,000, and the developers just bought it off him for £2 million. If you Google tonight when you get home, teenage millionaires, and look at these people, they didn't do the normal route. They went to school, and some of them started the businesses here. A lot of them didn't go to college or university in America. A lot of them just started an internet business, and they're multi-millionaires. So you don't have to follow that route if you don't want to. You don't have to get a career and start a family. So if I was to give you £100 today, just give it to you, what would you normally do with it? Someone in your family, yes, spend it, but what would you spend it on? Don't know. If I give you £100, what would you normally do with it?
Makeup or clothes.
Makeup and clothes? Yourself? What would you do with it? First to give it today? Christmas presents. Teachers at the back, what would you do with it? Clothes. We generally get from teaching staff, service the car, I need tax, a new dress for a Christmas party, that kind of stuff. It doesn't really matter. Has anybody got any children in their family that are kind of quite small, 6 or 7? Yeah. How old? 8. And if I was to, is it a boy or a girl? A girl? Yeah. And if I was to bring her to the front and she's going to tell you how to manage your money, would you guys listen to an 8-year-old? No, because they don't know much, do they? Well, let's bring a little girl then. We'll have a look at this little girl now. She's going to teach you more than I can do in one video clip.
Hi, my name is Charlie Beck and I am 6 years old. And today I am going to tell you what I'm learning about money. I earn money by helping my dad do jobs around the house. And I also help my mum in her shop. Sometimes when I'm really good I earn £5. But most times I earn £1. See, that's 10 pences. Here's how I manage my money. That's my 20p for a charity. That's 40p and I'm saving that to buy a new puppet. This is the last 40p and this is what I spent. My charity is Zoe's Place. Zoe's Place look after sick babies. That's how I manage my money. It's really simple. This is so much easier than running my own business. That's just my opinion. So come on, if I can do this, you can do this too.
Sorry, we'll close that down because normally it just keeps repeating itself. So that's really simple. And if, you know, my clients, some of them are multimillionaires, some of them really struggle every month. They get a salary comes in and there's not much left at the end of the month. And I just say the same things to them. Find out what you're going to spend this month. Try and save some of it for when you need something later down the track. And she gives some of her money to charity. I've got some children that are younger than yourselves that give all their money to charity. Some of them give absolutely nothing. Some spend all of it. But some have realised through this programme that they need to try and save something for later life. So kind of giving examples of what would you do with £100, that's exactly what I'm trying to get across to you, is that once you get money, whether it's gifts, presents, maybe you do a market sale, boot sale or something like that, whether you're working, trying to get into the habit of thinking, well, actually, I'm going to need some of this money. Maybe you want to get a car, and we'll look at an example of trying to fund your own car later on. Maybe you want to upgrade your mobile phone and it's not your parents that are paying for it anymore, it's you guys that are going to do it. So for the young lady at the front that was going to be a nurse, why is money important to studying for a nursing degree, if you like? Will you be living at home, do you think, when you're studying university? You've got a university close to you. So you're quite lucky, but is anybody in the room thinking of going to university away from home? Yeah, quite a few of you. So you kind of need money for accommodation, bills, utilities, socialising, that kind of stuff. And if you get into the habit now of trying to save some of your money now, it's going to make life a lot easier for you as you get older. Charlie's a really good example. She is 13 now. She took this on really early. It drove her mum mad in the first 3 years. So by the time she got to 9, her mum was ringing me up going, what have you done to my daughter? Have you created a monster? Her mum runs a travel agency business, and she was going into school and saying to all the teaching staff, would you like to book a holiday? Why don't you do it from a mum's shop? And her mum was giving her a commission for all the sales that she made. She's got a personal target. By the time she gets to 21, she wants to have £25,000 in the bank. She's just about to launch an eBay shop with help from her dad, and she'll get there, she'll do it. So money can help. It's definitely going to help for you if you're studying. So for those of you that are thinking about going to university, these are kind of the up-to-date figures that are available. So you can get loans for your tuition fees up to £9,250 a year. And it used to be grants last year and the year before, but they've been replaced by maintenance loans now to help with living costs, whether you're living at home, whether you're living away. If you're in a university in London, the rates are slightly higher. But they're based upon your parents' income levels. So has anybody looked at this yet? Has anybody looked at funding options that are going to university? There's loads of stuff on Student Finance England's website. Shows you how to fill the forms in, tells you what you're likely to get. For the NHS, there's a bursary scheme at the moment to try and get people back into there, whether you'd qualify or not. It might be that you might have had to have work experience in the NHS. So there's lots of things you can do in terms of helping you as you get older. So these are the student loans that are currently available. These are to help with living costs. So depending on whether you're living away from home and living in London, but all these things are repayable. So if you borrow this money as well as your student fees, you're going to have to pay this back. So 45% of the loan is guaranteed, with the rest assessed on your parents' income. Parents earn under £25,000 per year within that household, then you'll get all of it. So you get all of that grant if your household income is less than that. But you've got to go through an application form to get that process. So these are the student tuition fees. Does anybody know about when you get to pay it back? On the screen it's telling you if you earn up to £21,000 you pay nothing back. If you've not paid it back in 30 years, then it gets wiped off. So who thinks student loans are debt? If I take a student loan out to pay my university fees, who thinks it's a debt? Just give me a wave, anybody. One of you, a couple of you. I'd say it's not a debt, it's an investment in your future, and it's just changing the way you pay tax. So when we look at tax shortly, if I earn £21,000, the government take absolutely nothing back after me. It's only when I get paid more than that, that you can see monthly pay. If I'm earning £22,000 a week, I pay £7.50. It's taken out in my tax, so it's just like an extra tax. So it's not a debt, although it is increasing each year. So if I take a loan out for my fees, and I take a loan out for helping me out my living costs, if you like, I'm going to have to keep paying it back, and I do accrue interest each year while I've got it. But if you're not earning kind of 30,000, it's going to cost you very little anyway. So maybe look at it as a tax, not as a debt. Because there's lots of things in the media at the moment saying people can't afford to go to university, they're getting into too much debt. If you read Martin Lewis's blog on Money Saving Expert, he talks about exactly the same thing as I do as well. Loads of stuff on here. Basically what that's telling you, and these slides will be coming over to yourselves to get put on the video so you can watch this. This is how it's getting taxed. So it does go up in terms of RPI inflation. So what does RPI inflation, does anybody know what that means? Retail price index inflation. So the debt that you accrue on these loans go up each year in line with inflation. And there's two measures of inflation in the UK, CPI and RPI. You can see them on the television, and you'll see it tonight because inflation is getting spoken about tonight. So basically, as the cost of goods and services go up each year in the UK, that's how much your debt will go up each year based on what you've got outstanding. So if you don't earn £21,000 or more, you pay nothing back. After 30 years, the debt's written off. So the government just say, well, it's too late now, we can't get the money back from you. However, taking out a student loan or a maintenance loan will affect your ability to then get a mortgage, a credit card, any further loans you've got. So let's say, for example, one of you guys in a room finishes university, and then you come and see me to get a mortgage for your first house, and you've got £20,000 deposit. But then I look at your income. The mortgage company, the people that are going to lend you the money, will look at what income you've got coming in, less your student loan, and that's what you can afford to borrow. So be really, really careful. Most people in this room will probably want to get on the housing ladder at some stage in their life. This will affect it, and then most of these sessions that careers guidance do, they don't talk about this. They don't talk about the impacts of this for you. It's a contract. Once you sign that contract to get that loan, whether you complete your university course or not, it's a contract. You have to pay it back. They will come and chase you for it. Anybody seen that program, Can't Pay, We'll Take It Away? Yeah, well, two big blokes come knocking on your door. They chase you for student loans. And is it a debt or another tax? I would say it's another tax. So, quite a few of you not going to university, so this slide doesn't really kind of meet your needs, but this is some of the stuff that we get feedback from people that have just left university in terms of the challenges. In terms of the money that I've got available, so whether I'm working, whether I've got a maintenance loan, however I'm being funded in university, that had a massive impact on the time that they could spend socially with other students on their course, and that made them sometimes feel like they didn't fit in, because either they were working when everyone was going out because they couldn't afford to. They always had difficulty knowing with what bills were due and when, and that's specifically for people that are living in a house share. So if you're in a house share with 5 other students and you're not responsible, you haven't got the responsibility for the bills, you don't quite know what's coming in, other people in the house might be using a lot of gas and electricity, you have to pay your share to that, whether you've not been there or not. And that was quite difficult for them to understand. Obviously time management, you guys have probably got loads of pieces of work to do and you've got deadlines to meet it. It gets worse in university. And then it might be the first time that you've cooked for yourself, gone shopping for yourself, knowing where to go. That was quite difficult when you left home. And then travelling back home. So we'll look at some tips in a second about how to try and save you some money on all of this kind of stuff. Great place to go is Student Union for getting help and advice on all that if you're worried. Right, some top tips for you then. You can get a TV licence refund. So if you're away from home and you're living in halls of accommodation or you're living in house share, you need to have a TV licence. But when you come back home for the summer, ask for a refund. So don't pay for the whole year if you're not going to be there. You're only going to be there for 9 months. Try not to buy new books, rent them, borrow them, get them second-hand instead. Split your train tickets. I didn't know what this was till last year. So in some research that Money Supermarket did, it's cheaper to actually buy 2 single tickets on some routes than it is to buy a return. So has anybody used a train quite a lot? Some of you might do when you go to university. So rather than saying, I'll have a return to Leeds, please, just do some Google research and find out whether it's cheaper to buy 2 singles, because 9 times out of 10, this proves that it is cheaper to do that. Obviously use less energy and water. Still have a wash though. You know, you probably won't get many friends in university if you've not had a wash. Go to things like free festivals, museums and art galleries, and you'll get really, really good at finding the cheapest gas and electricity when you start renting your own place or you're in a house share. You can save yourselves hundreds of pounds just by doing that, just by shopping around and getting a different gas or electric supplier. Grab yourself a student discount card, and an NUS extra card costs £12, but it covers you for over 170 savings with online in-stores retailers of the year. So all I say to everyone going to university or whilst you're at college now, are you entitled to get an NUS card now? Can you get one, miss? I think so, yeah. If you've got one, flash it like a police badge everywhere you go. Do we get a discount here? Do we get a discount there? When you're going out for food with your friends, when you're going to the cinema, ask for discount everywhere. All these companies want your business anyway. They're not going to turn around and say to you, no, go away. If you end up paying the normal price, then that's fair enough. But just get one of these cards and try it, because you'd be amazed at what discounts you get. And ask for student discounts even if you have not got the card anyway. So places that you can go to get advice on money, maybe not now, maybe when you get a little bit older, are banks and building societies. What is the job of a bank or building society? Who could tell me? If I ran a bank, what's my sole purpose? To make profit? Yeah, so people walk in the door, I'm not really going to give them good advice if it doesn't make me money. So I want to sell them a product, I want to make money, I want to make profits. So they'll give you advice, but it's going to be tied, and that means it's tied to their bank. So they've only got very few things that they can give advice on. You can then go to things called multi-tied. So this is where they've got deals with various people. And these are your comparison sites like Go Compare, Money Supermarket. All these websites get a backhander from all the companies, and not all the companies that you can get products from are available on those sites because they won't pay the commission to big companies. Some financial advisors are not independent, they're multi-tied, and some brokers are as well. If you want independent advice when you get older, see an independent financial advisor, and also the Citizens Advice Bureau can give you independent advice as well. Loads of really good websites. This one's probably the one you want to check out if you get time. Sign up to the free email, you get loads of offers, things that are coming down the pipe free, loads and loads of stuff, a way to save money for you guys as well. There's a really good student finance calculator as well at studental.com. Right. So when we come to budgeting then, it's just basically a basic budget is knowing what's coming in and hopefully planning for what's going out. So what things do you think you'll have to pay for if you're living away from home? We've talked about a few of these already. Anybody shout some more out to me, what we've not already heard? So we've heard about food, gas, electric, water, travelling. What else? Do you guys buy games, mobile phones, your own clothes, trainers, that sort of stuff? You're going to start paying for this as well? Try and work out how much these things are going to cost. And we'll have a look at when we sit in the budget for you in a second. And work out when your income's going to be coming in. If you've applied for a loan, it might come in a big chunk, it might get paid quarterly. I'm not 100% sure of the process because I've not been through it myself, but I believe it comes in quarterly chunks. So you might get a big amount of money that comes into your bank in the first couple of months at university, but that might have to last you 3 months. If you spent it, it's going to be a really tough Christmas in your first year. Some documents that you might need to keep and might need to look at, and we're going to explain what these do for you. So the taxman gives you what's called a personal allowance each year, and we'll have a look at tax in a little test tube in a second. But you're allowed to earn in the UK at the moment £11,000 each year and pay absolutely no tax on it, and that goes up slightly each year. But when you start working, sorry, who's working at the moment? Just give us a wave. Who do you work for? Yeah. Sorry? Pub. Do you get paid each week? And is it through the books or cash in the hand or? Don't know. So you get paid if you work for someone like Frankie and Benny, something like that. You get paid as you earn. So what that means is that tax and national insurance is deducted through their payroll services, and then you get these things allocated to you. So if I start a job tomorrow, if I don't fill a document in called the P46. That company don't understand what my tax code is, so they'll give me emergency tax. I'll pay 20% on my first wage until the tax office that I've been allocated to sort my codes out. So you might see these on your pay slips, 1,000 del, week 1, month 1. You get a W1 if you're paid weekly from your company, and an M1 if you're paid monthly from your company. So if you've got a pay and your code in your pay slip says W1 or M1, it means you've been put on emergency tax. So to stop that happening, whenever you start a new job, go on the internet, Google P46, fill that form in and give it to your company as soon as you walk in the door. When you start working for a new business, they ask you to fill in application forms, next of kin details, all that kind of stuff. Give them the P46 and it will stop you getting taxed on emergency rates, because you shouldn't be paying tax at your ages. And then when you get fired or you leave that company, you get a P45. And what that certificate is, it comes from the taxman. It just basically says, in this year in which you've worked, you've paid this much tax, you've had this much income. And then you take that to your next employer and they process it and they take all your tax code and the amount of tax you've paid and then set you up on a normal basis. So if you've got one of these, a P45, don't chuck it in a drawer, don't throw it away, give it to your next employer. If you do that, you won't need a P46. And at the end of the year, comes out in about May, you get this thing called a P60. And the P60 is just basically, how much did I earn last year? How much tax did I pay? Please, please, please don't throw that document away. You don't get a copy of it, they won't issue another one. And one of my new clients who I met last year had been investigated by the Inland Revenue, the taxman, and they wanted to look at her P60 for the last 20 years. Who keeps paper that long? Well, that's what they wanted her to do. They wanted to prove it, so don't get yourself in that situation, kind of keep everything. Right, so the easiest way to show you this is kind of like on a little display. So if you just imagine this is a tube, and this is money, this is your salary, this is your earnings coming in each year. There's your allowance, that's your personal allowance. So you pay absolutely no tax on the first 11,000. Above that, so £11,001, you pay 20% tax. So on this bit here. So in this example, I earn £21,000. Sorry, that's wrong, that calculation. £21,000, I'm going to pay £2,000 tax. Someone hasn't updated our slides with the new rules. Same for national insurance, works exactly the same way. With national insurance, you pay absolutely no national insurance on the first £8,060. So again, your money's dropping in. It's only when you get to that level that you start to pay it. when you look at that, you pay 12% above it. So you're paying 20% tax on one side, 12% national insurance, adding to the fact that you might have a student loan, you're starting to look at 35% of what you're earning is getting taken off before you even got it. So on this £21,000 salary then, I've had £1,500 taken off me in national insurance, £2,000 taken off me in tax. So I'm actually only taking home just under £17,500. Doesn't seem fair, does it? So ask the teachers at the back, is it fair? No, it doesn't seem it, does it? And then you can factor into this as well with your student loans. So how much student loan would I pay back on that then if I'm earning £21,000? Who said zero? Well done, mate, yeah. Zero. Pay absolutely nothing, won't I? Because you pay nothing back on 21,000. It's only if that salary goes up that you'll see a deduction there. 3 things you can do to try and not get in debt. Do what Charlie does. She saves up for the things that she wants. So she wants that new toy, or she did when she was 6. She wants a new poppet, so she saves up for it. She doesn't buy it until she gets it. And probably by the time she's saved up for it, it's probably gone out of fashion. She doesn't need it anymore now. If you can avoid getting in debt, great, but not many of us can. The biggest thing that we get in terms of our lives is a mortgage. So buying our own home will probably see us in debt for between 25 and 30 years. But shopping around like you would do anyway, don't always buy the dearest thing. So let's have a quick quiz then. So this is on here because it's my daughter. So she took her driving lessons. On average, how much do you think it takes to pass your driving test, including your theory and your lessons and your examination fees? How much do you think it is?
800.
800 quid? Okay. What about then car insurance for your first car?
5 grand something.
5,000?
Something,
Yeah, anybody else? Anybody got a car? Anybody been through this burden, this pain? Yeah, Aaron has. It's expensive, isn't it? What about buying a new car then? How much is it going to cost me to buy a new car or a car just to get me driving? Sorry?
Double the amount of the others.
Double the amount.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Twice as much.
this is kind of average running costs. So what it costs you. So my daughter's really lucky. I paid for that. The first year I've paid for this. She went half me on that. No way I'm paying this. So about 500 to £800. That's your theory test, your exam. It depends if you pass these first time as well. Your lessons every week. Car insurance. My daughter pays, well I pay £2,000 a year. The car's only worth 800 quid. 2 grand a year. Ridiculous, isn't it? Car can be anything from kind of 500 quid upwards. You know, if you're getting a new car, if someone's buying it for you, then great. But then when it's running, you've got car tax, fuel, spares, servicing, MOTs, breakdown, accidents. So she's already had in her first year, she's had a car broken into. So we've had a claim against insurance. She's also hit a car in the outside lane on the M6 going to work and had a big accident. So she's found it really tough. And she's only on an apprentice wage as well. So that's just to be mindful, really. So when you're thinking about, well, I want to get on the driving ladder, have you got savings in your bank account already to pay for your car insurance, to run the car, or are you kind of dependent on the bank of mum and dad? If you're lucky enough to have kind of mum and dad to help you. Really difficult. So what, to show you some bits and pieces from, sorry about the graphic, it's really bad that. Anybody doing graphic design in college? Yeah, that's awful, isn't it? Probably the worst slide you'll see. I didn't do that, by the way. Right, so things that you get on your card that you may or may not know about are your digits. So, and how these things work. So your bank sort code, so when you see this 050298 or whatever it is for your bank, that just allocates that bank. So it might be Santander, but it might be the Manchester branch, not the Liverpool branch. So in the computing systems that run our banking system, all that tells that bank, the computer system, is that that's where your bank's located. You've then got your own personalised 8-digit account number. So for me, I've got a really common name, Mark Jones. It's a really common name. in my branch alone, I think there's 18 of us. I'm in the Warrington branch. So, good thing to think about here when you're filling all those forms in for your new job, when you get one eventually, make sure you fill these in right. Because I've had clients that have started new jobs, worked all month, great, getting paid on the 27th, we're out with the guys, and then no money's gone in, and it's taken like 2 weeks to find out where it was, and it was just literally the 8-digit number was wrong. Your employer sends the money into the bank account system, it then goes to the branch, tries to locate you, can't find you, and it then sits in what's called a suspense account, and it has to wait for about 3 days until it tries to relocate it, and then it gets sent back to where it came from. If that's at the weekend, you're not going to find out till the week after, so be really careful once you're kind of signing up new forms for a new job. So this is university plan, but it could be just kind of general living plan. So try and get to understand and break it down into weekly amounts. So what's it going to cost me to live where I'm going to live? Whether that's in halls of residence, whether it's a house share. My utilities, so gas, electric and water, council tax, maybe TV licence as well. How much is my share towards the food, and how much am I going to kind of put towards travelling and socialising? That's the one part that's really difficult to budget for, because you might have no plans to come back home to Oldham, and then all of a sudden something happens at home and you've got to pay 20 quid to get a rail ticket that week. So you can't really plan for it. And other stuff as well, like your clothes, going out, buying equipment for college, university. And then think about, well, my maintenance loan's going to come in, and it's going to come in a big chunk, and then maybe I'm working, maybe I've got some bank savings. Am I going to be in the first month? Am I going to be in a surplus? Have I got too much money? Or am I going to be kind of a bit of a loss? So if this was me then, and I had kind of a shortfall of 100 quid, what could I do? If I've not got enough money here to meet my outgoings for this month, what could I do? Apart from sitting there worrying, what could I do? If that was you, if you found yourself in a halls of residence and you've worked that out and you're thinking, oh my God, I won't have enough money to kind of buy any food this month, what could I do? Maybe cut back on some of this. This stuff's pretty fixed, isn't it? Where you live, the cost for live. Food to some extent, you could probably shop in some cheaper places, but you're going to have to kind of give up some things. So you either put more money in here through work or getting some money from your family, or you cut back on some of this. When you get yourself into debt and when you start taking out credit cards and when you start taking out short-term loans, it's because you've not managed this process and you've got too much going out here and not enough coming in. And people go, oh, get one of these Wonga loans. And have you seen the APR on a Wonga loan? It's something like 4,000%. So you borrow 100 quid, and if you don't pay it back quick enough, it could cost you a fortune. So try and go through that process if you can with yourselves. The other thing that you might get as well is a bursary payment, a maintenance loan as well. These sessions are really difficult for year 12 and 13 because no one wants to put their hand up. And yet if I had a group of year 6 students in this class, they would be shouting questions and answers at the screen. That's because when you're kind of 10 and 11 years old, it doesn't matter what you say because no question is a stupid question. So all I would say to you is that if anything's kind of touched a nerve with you and you think, I didn't really understand what Mark said, but I'd really like to know a little bit more, just log on to our website. If you want a copy of these slides, can I give them to you? That's all right. If you want to look through them, if you've got any questions, there's a contact form on there. Just send me an email saying, this is my name, you came to Oldham Sixth Form College, I just want to ask a question about that. And you'll get it answered in confidence. So if there's anything that's kind of worrying you financially, that service is there for you as well. And that's us. Anybody got any questions? And there won't be any. That's it.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for your time, guys.